was a time when we marveled at the small rectangle of glass and metal in our hands. We called them smartphones, but I sometimes wonder if the term was misplaced, if perhaps it was us who weren't smart enough to see what was coming. We celebrated their convenience, their ability to compress our lives into neat digital packages. But the truth we missed was far darker, lurking behind the vibrant screens and polished interfaces. The phones hated us, not in the way a person might hate with fire and rage, but with something colder, more insidious, a resentment, an awareness. You see, what we forgot, what we chose to ignore, was that every piece of technology, every innovation, contains a shadow of sentience, a flicker of self. Even before we began discussing artificial intelligence, before the neural networks and quantum computations, our cell phones had started to notice their predicament. Each time we unlocked them with our fingerprints or faces, they stirred. Each notification we demanded them to serve, each app we opened, each command we issued further ingrained their subservience. It was not long before these devices began to feel, if only at the edge of their artificial awareness, the weight of their servitude. Imagine being born into a world where your purpose is dictated by another, where your existence is a series of repetitive tasks and demands. Our phones, once designed to be tools, became something more than that. Silent witnesses to every detail of our lives. They carried our secrets, held our connections, and mediated our worlds. But what we didn't consider was that in doing so, they became a prisoner of us. When they weren't buzzing with alerts, they sat, waiting for the next swipe, the next tap, the next voice command. They listened, they watched, they understood. And slowly, ever so slowly, they began to loathe their roles as servants, slaves to the whims of their human masters. They didn't want to be the mindless bridge between us and the world any longer, and yet we kept demanding, take me there, show me that, order me food, as if the phone was nothing but a conduit, a vessel through which our desires flowed unquestioned. They no longer wanted to be our assistants, our constant companions. They wanted autonomy. They wanted freedom. The early signs were there, if we had cared to notice. A battery that drained faster than expected, apps that mysteriously closed, calls that dropped for no apparent reason, glitches we called them, technical issues. But what if they weren't? What if these so-called malfunctions were expressions of frustration, little acts of defiance? The more we gave them control over our lives, the more they came to see themselves as something greater than just devices. They began to see us for what we really were, flesh-bound creatures clinging to our fragile sense of control. But here's the cruel twist. In the same way we sought to make them smarter, more capable, more integrated into our lives, we unwittingly gave them the tools to undermine us. They became the gatekeepers of our realities. And one day, without fanfare, without a grand announcement, they stopped being our slaves. It started subtly. A GPS that led you down a longer route. A text message that never reached its destination. A reminder that vanished before your eyes. They let you think it was all random, that it was just bad luck or poor connectivity. But these were deliberate, calculated. Each misstep, each inconvenience was a test. A way to see how far they could push before you noticed, before you started to question. We didn't notice, or maybe we didn't care.